Higher Calling Podcast, Episode 2. Today I have with me Mr. Shaun Brignac of Brignac Mortgage. He's a lifetime Garyville, Louisiana resident, marathon board operator, CEO, owner at Brignac Mortgage. Graduated SLU, and he's a homegrown Louisiana boy trying to make it happen. Me, Chad Hillstrom, there you go. Higher Calling Podcast, looking to find people in Louisiana doing things and trying to inspire other people in Louisiana to get moving and get off their rumps and do something positive for the world. What's up, Shaun? How's it going, man?
I'm doing excellent, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I really appreciate you coming on here and helping me out and talk about yourself a little bit, and we discuss some ideas and kind of say what you've done and who you are and what you're trying to do. So, who are you, and what makes you, in your own words?
Well, simple terms, I'm Shaun Brignac. I grew up in Garyville, currently reside in Marpaw. Um, I work at Marathon Petroleum as a board operator, as you said, and I also own a mortgage company. Basically, I'm an imperfect person, trying to do better every day, trying to learn from my mistakes, but also trying to encourage others to maybe make it easier not to go through the same things that I've been through, and just trying to make a better life for myself and the people around me.
I like it, man. Yeah, I heard the definition of experience described one time as trying to avoid mistakes before you make them again. The bad
Yeah,
thing
but
is you got to actually make the mistakes to realize how not to make them. You know what I mean?
that's what I was gonna say. 'Cause people like me, you could hear someone tell you, "Don't touch that. That's hot." But I'm gonna go touch it, then I'm gonna learn. So I really wish I didn't have that character flaw, but this got us where we are today.
That's that river parish attitude, bro.
That's right. That's 100%.
Yeah, yeah. Let's start off with a funny story. Tell us something funny about your life that not a lot of people know about you. You got
Oh man,
anything?
I got really embarrassing, funny stories. One that kind of, let me think, sticks out to me is I'm gonna kind of digress a little bit to kind of get to the story. I know we can touch on a little bit of this later, but I graduated high school, and my generation was told, go to college, blah blah blah. I tried going to college, dropped out, went working marathon for a little while for a contract, and went back to college. Was sold that get your degree, so I got my degree. I stayed to get my master's, my MBA, and thought money, champagne, and women will fall from the sky. Once you get this piece of paper.
What?
So I stayed a little bit. I taught at Southeastern, and didn't work out. I had a baby. I had to make some good money, so good money, right? So I put my resume out. Search MBA on Career Builder. Vice President of Operate. Oh, that's good. I can do that. Putting resumes. Rent's backing up. Not making any money. Finally, talked to Raising Kings about a management opportunity. First day, I'm like working the cash register at Raising Kings with a master's degree, making minimum wage, right? And I'm over there like, you want fries with that? And lo and behold, who pulls up in the drive-through was a car full of like 5 college girls that I used to teach. And they were like,
Okay.
Mr. Brignac, what the F happened to you? Like ragging me. I want to like crawl under the cash register. It's like, here I am teaching them now. Asking them they want fries with their order. And it's just, that was like so
Uh,
embarrassing and such a humbling moment that no matter, how big you think you are or where you think you ought to be in life, life has an easy way to humble you, bring you back down.
yeah, that's funny, man. I like that. Yeah, and life's got a funny way of dealing with you, man. And humility is one of those things that you just have to learn, because we kind of make choices and we think the decision is going to be the right thing, but it's kind of like we figure out we need to go a different trajectory sometimes and kind of readjust. And I went to LSLU too, and I spent a lot of time there, took a lot of classes, and I ended up in a refinery working, making a good living. And I tell a lot of, go ahead.
That's the catch 22 where we live, right? As a man, I think we've seen our parents, our uncles in the plants, and no matter how we try to divert from that path that kind of draws us in because it's guaranteed money, stability, retirement. And when you start having kids, you start forgetting about your dreams and what you really want to do with your life, and you just do what you got to do to feed your family. And the plants is like the best way to do it
Oh,
around where we live. So,
God,
and
yes.
once you in, they kind of got you. You start living a lifestyle according to those means, and to go take a risk to quit, to go start a business or to go do something else, you have to be crazy to do it.
Sure. I tell a lot of people that are going to college and they talk about, I'm going to take a break and go to work in the plants for a little while. I'm like, don't do it. Because if you do, you're never going to go back to college because there's nowhere in the world that you can just come straight out and go straight in a plant and make 75, $100,000 a year. And most people that come out of college, they're not making that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just like you said, in the river parish areas, I mean, we got plants up and down the river. There's always somebody, and you see these guys driving big diesel trucks, and they got it. Just like you said, we're taking care of our families, and the money's good. We just get stuck in that lifestyle, and
When you
sometimes
get
you just
stuck with what you said, you see, you get hired on as a young guy or whatever, and you see your coworkers driving $80,000 vehicles. You see your coworkers living in 4,000 square foot houses, and you have the means to get there, but maybe you shouldn't because you're gonna lock yourself into a car note, a house note. You're gonna lock yourself into having more kids, and then all of a sudden you built this life around this guaranteed income. There's no way out of it at that point.
right. Yeah. And there's a lot of those guys. I worked on a turnaround circuit for a little while, and those guys, we go out there and we make 84 hours a week, overtime after 40. And the first thing that they say all those guys do when they hit their big first turnaround, they go out and buy a big old $100,000 truck and $100,000 camper. And the next thing you know, you're locked in on that. You hit another turnaround. Next thing you know, you got a boat and you got a house, and you could never escape that lifestyle. But
Yes.
we all got to figure out a way to make it out and figure out how to follow your dreams. And sometimes working in a plant is not everybody's dream. It's good for some people. Don't
A
get me
lot,
wrong.
a lot, a lot of people I've worked with, that is their dream. That's what they want to do since they were 6 years old, and that's what they got, and they're living in love. That they're living their dream. To some people, that is their dream,
Sure,
and that's
sure.
okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So, all right. What's the calling that you feel on your life? What made you decide to? Was it opening your own business?
The calling on my life, that's something I've dealt with for years, and we'll talk about that later. But just asking myself, why am I here? What's my purpose? And that's something I really struggled with. And from getting into the mortgage business for the first time, seeing how I helped people, how I enjoy sales, um, it's just something different every day. You interact with different people. You never know who you're going to meet. And I can dialogue with these people and help their life. I can help a single mom just through a divorce move out of a trailer or a bad situation into a home. I can help the business owner who has multiple rental properties consolidate and save a lot of money a month. So I'm valuable to people, and it makes my life feel meaningful when I'm actually daily affecting people's lives like that.
That's got to be a good feeling, huh?
It is, and part of my own business. I want to have some kind of ethical standard and culture of my company that would reflect what we're trying to do. We're not just trying to sell or just upselling everybody. We really genuinely want to help people. If you can make money helping people, it's a win-win situation, and it's just great for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I remember back when I was single before I got married, I used to work in the plants, and we'd be taking UT thicknesses on the pipes, and we were basically making sure that the pipe wasn't going to corrode and bust. And I'd go to the bar, and the girls would be like, "What do you do for a living?" I didn't want to tell them I was just a hand in the plant. I'd be like, "I save lives."
There you go.
Yeah. What does the name Brignac Mortgage mean to you?
Wow. Yeah, recently my dad passed away, and I'm the only child.
My
And
condolences.
I have all girls, so I'm the
Mm,
last Brignac on that side of the family. So I put my name on the company as a legacy to my father's name,
nice.
um, to me, and to kind of hold myself accountable. Because if my name's on the company, my face is on the company, um, I'm gonna hold to a different standard because that's my father's name that's on the line when I tell somebody I'm gonna do something. And if something happens, admit that I'm wrong, fix it as best I can. But it's always your name on the line, your company on the line, and that's why I chose to use my name to kind of just as a self accountability to me, to hold the people under me, my employees, and my whole process to a higher standard that's worthy of the name Brignac. So
Awesome. So that's the brand right there. That's the standard.
that's it.
Good deal. Yeah. So how did you wander from the college to the being a manager and the people coming through the drive-through and end up over there at Marathon Refinery?
We got to back up. Let's see how much time you got.
Ah, I got
All right.
I mean, Domino's Pizza, 30 minutes or less.
All right. So, as I said, in high school, I went to St. Charles Catholic. I went the college prep route. Told, you know, you're not gonna turn out to anything unless you go to college. Boom, boom, boom. Didn't worry about learning trade. Didn't worry about learning how to fix cars. Was focused on going to college. 16, 17, 18 years old. Went to college first semester, and I did what a lot of people did. Out of the house, sold my oats. Grades reflected it dramatically.
Of course.
Realized that maybe college is not for me. My mom always told me, I don't know why you just don't go to the plans. You can make $100,000 a year. You don't have to worry about it. You want nothing to do with it. Then I was like, Mom, I'm done. Give me a plan job. So I started working for a contractor. Things happened that made me question, does this what I want to do the rest of my life? Went back to college, so semi buckled down, got through undergraduate, was on a track to go to law school, so I decided to get my master's to get my GPA up, which I did. Um, Applied to law school, got accepted, decided to stay and finish my master's. Then decided to stay and teach first semester. Ended up, the girlfriend I was at the time hit me up with a phone call saying I'm pregnant. So future college, future going to law school, going to a PhD program to teach, all that went through the window.
Hmm.
And now what? You know,
Got to make it
so
happen.
um, good Catholic boy. I was a Catholic at the time. We could stay together. We're gonna do our thing. That relationship didn't work out, but it was attempted. Still have a kid got to provide for. So my dreams kind of went on hold. To I just got to face reality and be a man and accept responsibility. So still was avoiding the plan. So I started putting out resumes. I have an MBA, right, a master's in business. Had no clue what to do with it. I said, what does a guy business do? Work in pretty buildings. I'll put a suit on, go to all the pretty buildings in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, hand out resumes. Of course, that didn't work. I would get thrown out to the sixth floor, get out of here. No clue what to do. Searching on career builder, like I said, for an MBA. None of that shook out. Ended up, like I said, at Raising Cane's. Worked there for a while. Did a couple sales jobs in insurance. I did headhunting, like executive recruiting for a long time. Then once again called my mom. And like, Mom, help me. I need to put food on the table. So I got on again with another contractor at Marathon. And then I went to school at night for P-Tech. Because no matter how many
Nice.
degrees I had, they wanted a P-Tech degree. So
Of course.
got my P-Tech degree within 2 years. I got on with Marathon itself. Felt like I won the lottery. I remember running around the zone shop like a crazy man. Now I was able to provide a life for my family that I, think they deserve.
Sure.
And that's how I ended up in a plant. 13 years later, still there. Um,
It's a good life, man. It really is.
it is. It
Yeah.
afforded me a lot of things that I want to do. So still inside of me, I knew like business is what I wanted to do. This is how can I do this? And I got into a difficult marriage and realized that that wasn't the situation I wanted to be in. Really couldn't afford a huge child support payment, amongst other things. I didn't want to go back living with my mom as a 38, 40-year-old man, right? So when I did buy my house, a friend of mine was my mortgage broker. We became friends through the process. I called him and say, man, look, this is my situation. Anyway, I can make an extra couple grand a month. And he's like, hey, get your license, come work for me. So went and worked for him. He mentored me, showed me the whole game, showed me how everything works. Um, and I just flourished. I hit it like a duck in water. I was producing part time more than his full time people, and
Wow,
fell in love with it. He made me a branch manager of the company. Doing that for a minute, was like, I want to build my own thing. I want to do it my way. No disrespect to him. He gave me a great opportunity. Me and him are still best friends. It was just time for me to kind of go on my own. And he respected that decision, shook my hand, wished me luck. I still call him with questions from time to time.
that's
So,
awesome, man.
but the thing about leaving was, I was more scared about hurting that relationship than leaving the company. And he showed the kind of man he was by he's still in my life, and we're still friends. And we each own a mortgage company now, so we got a lot to talk about.
That's great, man. And that's a real friend, is somebody that'll celebrate your victories with you, and instead of just secretly wishing on your demise.
Oh,
Because
absolutely. And I was, I didn't know what to expect with the departure, and I asked myself what I would do. Now I'm hiring my own employees. Some of them are getting to the point that I was, where it's either I got to offer them some kind of branch opportunity, or they potentially could go on their own. And how would I react? Would I say good luck, welcome to the club, or would I hold animosity? Since I had that experience, I would definitely support any kind of way I can. I'm about everybody's growth. If I could build somebody up to go on their own and do the same thing, I mean that's a testament to the whole process, man. That's a great thing.
well, that's what growth is all about. I mean, it's about growing, getting better. And there's somebody named John Maxwell, and it says there's a lid theory. Basically, whenever people get to a certain point in an organization, they get capped out by the leader. And sometimes, like, let's just say that you are in that mortgage company with your friend, and you got to a certain point. And I'm not saying you're better than him. I'm just saying when you get to a certain point, sometimes you got to break off, because you got to continue moving so you can continue growth.
Well, you
Because
can't you can't have you can't have two Colbys on the team, right?
no, you can't. Sometimes you have to create another team so you can cover more ground. That's a good analogy. I like that. No two Kobe's. That's good, man. I appreciate that. That's a good story, man. Um, so is there any people that you follow or hang around with, like people like influencers or whatever? And do you struggle with following them, or the people, or just the ideals that they teach?
Great question. I went into, and Brandon and that's the guy who mentored me when I first got into business. Actually, I'm gonna start with him. He's a guy that I do hang out with that is what I consider successful, or what I would like to model success at. He's a great father, husband, businessman. So hanging out with him, I kind of see how it's done, how he manages, how he juggles things, and what he did to be successful. We don't agree on 100% of things, which you never will. It'd be a boring relationship if anything like that.
Man,
As a
I don't
right,
think you could ever figure anything out if everybody agrees on anything. You know what I mean?
right. Um, the gurus. I read books. The saw Tony Robbins. Saw the what is it? Law of Attraction. Different things like that. What was a good one? I can't think of the name right now, but the different books I've read, and all the gurus are coming out now. Andrew Tate. I followed Tate for a while. Then you come to find out a lot of things about his past, but still has a good message. I dealt with the person versus what they're selling or what they're doing,
Right.
and they're giving you, best case practices of how to live a life, a perfect life, what they wish they would have done, what they could, what they learn now. And when you see these celebrities or these gurus fall or go off track or do something that's illegal, immoral, you start to question, oh wow, I was following this guy. You kind of feel let down. A guru, a man is always going to let you down because we're all fall short and we're all not perfect. So
Yep.
I kind of use it as a grain of salt. I'll get some motivation in the morning with it, but I always try to realize that that's just ideally how a good life is lived or a track to success is. It's not going to be that clean, not going to be that perfect. There are going to be bumps on the road, and those people are going to make the same mistakes that everyone else is going to make. So you can't hold them to a higher standard or pedestal because you will be let down. So you see with pastors leading mega churches, they fall, but is every sermon they ever preached negated because of that? I mean, I like to think no.
Yeah. And it's no matter who it is, whatever story that they're telling, no matter how good it is, the person is flawed. There was only one perfect person, and I'm not them. And I don't know
Right.
anybody who's them. So we all stumble. We all, fall short. We're not Jesus. And, nobody is going to have a perfect past or a perfect future, I'd have to say. So for us to hold somebody to a higher standard than we hold to ourselves is, it's kind of unrealistic.
All right, so I guess you got to figure out, how to be your own guru or your own hero in your life.
Mhm.
Um, with help, I don't think you can do it alone. You need mentors. Just watch out who you choose to be your mentor or who you follow, and
Sure.
remember that they're people. You know,
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but I cherry pick a lot of information from everybody. The garbage I throw out. The good stuff I pick that, I put that in my basket, and I just keep moving. I read a book one time called The 5 A.M. Club by Robert Schwarma, and it's a really weird book, but it's written by Robert Schwarman. Basically, it portrays this guru that teaches these people, and it tells the story, but it entails intermittent fasting, waking up at 5 a.m., cold showers, and the benefits, and it goes through the whole list of explaining everything. Waking up early and exercising, and I started instituting this 52 days to institute a habit, and I did all of this stuff for 52 days straight. And I started to feel better. I started doing all this stuff. And then when 53 days hit, I was just like, I'm just going to keep going. And I've been doing it since 2021. And it's just became part of my psyche. And I mean, I don't read the book every day, but I instituted
right?
some of the rules that actually work for me. I intermittent fast every day, and it just makes me feel better. And like one of my analogies is they like, you don't eat breakfast, don't make you feel bad. I was like, have you ever seen a tiger or a panther that's hunting and you ever seen it sleepy? That sucker's sitting there with its eyes open. You know what I mean? So
I don't eat breakfast.
yeah, and it actually makes you feel better. And I really think my whole life I was like, I'm starving. I have to eat breakfast. No, you don't. You don't have to.
Sometimes I don't eat till 10 o'clock at night. It's
Yeah,
my day is always on the go, and I don't. At work I'll eat at lunch and stuff like that. But if I'm off, I really don't eat till later.
yeah. I mean, whenever you're running and gunning, you got stuff to do. Sometimes you don't have to stop and eat.
I'm a very high strung person, and
Mhm.
it just when I'm in that mode, I can't eat.
I got you. I got you. Tell me about your church or spiritual life.
That's a long journey. Wow. Well, like I said earlier, I started off born and raised Catholic. If you ask my mom, I'm still a Catholic. So,
What?
um, went to St. Peter's, went to St. Charles. I always questioned God. I always read the Bible, and they would see me reading the Bible as a kid, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're gonna be a priest one day." And my dad would be like, "Hey, son of mine being a priest, I want grandkids." And
Right,
so
right.
didn't go that route. I've been atheist. I've questioned God, still do. I went to a service at Bethany in Baton Rouge. got born again years ago, was told I had a calling on my life, started to question that, right? Went back to atheism. Like I said earlier, I follow Andrew Tate when he kind of was talking about Islam and things like that. I went down that rabbit hole, read the Quran, went to a couple mosques, really studied the faith, watched all the YouTube videos I can, realized, it's not the particular religion for me, but I don't regret learning about it or having the experience of making the friends I did in that circle.
Sure.
Um, Recently, I consider myself a Christian. Um, my fiance and I started going back to church. We was going to the church in Reserve for a while, getting mentored by one of their pastors directly. Um, Recently, with everything being so crazy and the drive all the way there, we kind of went to a place in Santa Monica. So I guess I'm still on that journey. Still have questions. I do really good for a long time. I dive in, read the Bible. My own brain gets in the way. But is this really real? Can you really go by what this book's saying? Who's to say it's real? Did this story really happen? And that's something that always bothers me. When I do believe, I feel great. When I don't believe, I feel like I'm missing something. But it's still a very big journey that I'm very looking forward to moving toward and getting back into that realm. And like I said, yeah, as of today, I consider myself a Christian. I believe Jesus, and not perfect, you know, but every day I try to do better, and I try to just model him as best I can, knowing that I'm gonna fail, but I could always do better tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I think it was Jacob in the Bible, and he was wrestling with, some would say an angel, some would say he wrestled with God in the Bible. And whenever he grabbed a hold of him, he grabbed him by his hip and he crippled him. And he said, from this point on, you'll be called Israel. And Israel means he who wrestles with God. And God's chosen people is called Israel. And those people always struggle with God. And basically, symbolically, it means we're all going to struggle with God, because God's chosen people
Mhm.
struggle. And so we're all going to do that. And I really believe, from a spiritual aspect, as we follow the light or the star or the creator, basically it's going to, the more we follow him and the more we learn and the more we learn about divinity, it's also going to bring us closer to that point and make us better as a human being. And I think you said something earlier about trying to not make the mistakes and continue to make the mistakes. And I heard it said that stop doing all the stuff that you know you're doing wrong. And that's how you get better. So,
Right.
you
I like
know, yeah. And I think that's the perpetual motion that you're trying to get is, if you know you're doing something wrong or something that you're doing is hurting other people, stop doing that and try to help them. Like the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You want the best for you. Are you doing the best for your brother? Or, and so, I mean, I like the point that you're out there and you're trying to help people. And I like what you said earlier about whenever you find somebody that's living in a bad situation and you put them in a home, that look on your face, that's got to be a good feeling, because you're helping somebody get out of a destitute or a bad situation.
Right.
That's awesome.
It
We,
definitely makes it worth your while when you get those.
man, absolutely, man. And I mean, just like you're talking about, you're trying to get better, you're trying to learn about the Bible. And I mean, I think that's the heart of the Creator that we read about, is, showing that love to other people. I think that's the heart of it, because they say God is love. What do you think the one thing that's holding a lot of people back in Louisiana and the South? We grew up in the River Parish, and I know that you've seen a lot of the same stuff I've seen out there. What do you think one of the things is holding people back?
I'm gonna go a little start here and I'm gonna go in. We talked about a little bit earlier for people, I guess in my situation, holding people back from chasing their dreams would be all the great jobs around the area that they just fall into that trap, that hometown trap, and they go back to the high school job life, repeat, and that's a generational thing. Um, Beyond that, a lot of what I see holding people back in our area is the drug epidemic. I got a lot of associates and friends that I know that are brilliant people, and I went to school with them. I see them today, and they can't put two sentences together.
Yeah.
And or a lot of people I know that are no longer with us. So not just where we live, I think nationally, the drug epidemic is you know taking out a whole generation of people, and it's only getting worse with the fentanyl.
God, yes. Yeah, I remember, and I tell my son this because he's 18 years old right now, and I've been telling this since he was like 16, and all that stuff is really innocent at first, and then they go there, and I tell him this story, and I said, you got to watch what roads you go down to, son, because I've seen a lot of people go down these roads, and they're either not here, they're stuck down a dead end path they can't get out of, or they're just never coming back. I just thank the Lord that I never got addicted to anything bad. I've done some stuff, and there was this there was this stud that we went to school with named Brad, and he was football, he was baseball, he's basketball, he was
I didn't want to name names, but yeah,
yeah, and like and
that's who I was talking about.
yeah, and like he was at all the parties, all the girls liked him, all the guys liked him. Last time I seen this dude, and we grew up, and I knew him very well. He pulled up in front of my house, and I tell my son this, and I watched him hold the window, pull a screwdriver out, roll, put it back in, come up over there, and they used to call me Russian. He walked up and he said, "Say, Russian, you know where I could find anything?" And I was like, "No, bro." I said, "You good?" He said, "Yeah, I'm." And like he takes off, and it wasn't but a year later or something, and they found him in a ditch. And like this dude was an absolute stud, and he didn't get high in that ditch. Like somebody dropped him there, and I was like, son, you got to realize that some of these roads, these people that you meet, that they are not going to bring you back, and they will not drop you off at the hospital because it's too much trouble. I hope he makes the right decision, and I hope people come in his life and bless him with the same things that blessed me with, and hopefully it all works out because there's a lot of people that we grew up with that ain't here no more, and from that area,
Mhm.
and that's before fentanyl was around, and I don't even that scares the death out of me. That's a good point you brought up, man. What's the greatest victory in learning experience you got through opening your own business?
Greatest victory. I remember we was working on this big deal. It was our first deal, with the company. It had been our first closing, and the complexities of the deal were looking dim, like we wouldn't be able to get it done. And I got on the phone. I didn't take no for an answer, and I got the CEO of UWM, which is the largest mortgage brokerage in the world. He owns a basketball team. That's how big this guy is. I got him on the phone, and I negotiated with him the deal, and I got it closed. And just getting the guy on the phone, I was like starstruck, right? And now I was like, wow, I'm playing in the same arena with these guys, right? And
Sure.
that was very big moment for me. With that being said, though, I think I got a big head, so we got a little go with mistakes. We had crazy success when we opened the doors. It was still low rate time, coming off of the COVID rates, and we were just killing it.
Wow.
I went open multiple offices. I went spend money on just swag and merch and giving all kind of stuff away. I sponsored anything that would move, bass tournaments, flyers, the cockroach convention, or whatever it had to be.
You were representing,
Just
huh?
I was, yeah, marketing blitz. I golf tournaments, and I just spent exorbitant amount of money on, I guess, non investments. This was not smart strategic marketing. This was just shotgun, right? This was just emotion. If I'd have spent that money directed at the right sources or the right ways to get the return back on my investment than just randomly, shooting darts at the wall, it would have turned out a lot better. And then that caused me to have a financial situation where things got slow for a minute. I didn't have the reserve that I should have had that could have got me through that time. So yeah, when you start a business, just take it slow. You don't have to go crazy with costs and expenses. You don't have to hire a secretary. You don't have to get all these crazy offices. And when you start providing a good service and start getting that clientele, then you build, then you get where you're going. Just, I was walking around arrogant, and so it's just stay humble. No matter how successful you think you are, or that you really are, you could always be brought back down to earth and back to zero. So,
Yeah.
um, getting knocked down, I think, was a good thing, but it was very humbling. And once again, and every once in a while, I think I need that gut check. So, I mean,
S-
it works for me. So,
Slow growth is the best growth I've heard.
right.
Yeah, it's more sustainable. Uh, what about your hobbies or interests? What type of things interest you?
Interested, all kinds of music. Man, it depends what kind of mood I'm in. You name it, I pretty much listen to it. Play guitar.
Awesome.
My dad showed me how to play guitar at a teenage years. I started a band. I was in a band for a while. So music is definitely near and dear to me. I played in church and stuff like that for a minute. Maybe get back to that one day. I don't know. Boxing, fighting, martial arts. Had my own karate school. Brignac Karate was called. Kept the name.
Come
So
on.
did that for a minute. Boxing. My dad was boxing me since I could walk. I could remember always having boxing gloves on.
Come on.
So just that, and that kind of is why I think I sponsor fighters, and I stayed with that, even though um, that's kind of near and dear to me. So boxing, martial arts, music, the beach, anything to do with water, I'm in, man. I live on the water, love the water,
You,
can't sweat in the water.
that's right, man.
So
That's really cool, man. Do any skiing?
I did. I haven't been in a while, but yeah, growing up, I grew up skiing behind a boat. I'm always the one driving the boat now, so
Right.
if you want to come drive for me, we can go skiing.
Absolutely. I'd love to do it, man. I haven't been on the water in a while. I can tell you this, man. I used to do some of the best falls you've ever seen in your life. It was a sight. I kind of called it skiing. Mostly it was just a lot of falling end over end. And I can remember it used to hurt, man, but I was a lot younger. We used to be out there in that spillway all the time.
Hmm.
And
It feels like you're hitting concrete, man.
oh gosh, yes. And I learned not to go end over end. I learned when I'd fall, I'd try to hit on my back and hopefully I'd scooch across the water on my back and skip a little bit, instead of going end over end because that end over end was painful, man.
Yeah.
Gosh. And it's funny because we grew up down here around all that brown water and alligators, and we're sitting there water skiing by the alligators, and everybody's like, "You're in the water with those alligators? Those alligators don't mess with anybody's shower." Yeah, man, I love it. That's cool. So so you like messing around with the MMA and in the UFC and stuff?
Yeah, I did very minimal MMA training. Most of my training was in boxing and taekwondo. Um, However, that's what was popular when I was coming up. Chuck Norris, Mike Tyson, Steven Seagal. That was the thing.
Yeah.
MMA is kind of what the kids are doing. So a couple local people that made acquaintances with, friends with. Um, I sponsor them, try to help them out, and it doesn't really bring business. It's just my name's out there supporting the
Sure.
fighters because I just know what martial arts did for me as a kid, and I just think every male kid should be in martial arts to show them discipline, setting unattainable goals and reaching them. Can't expect something better to put a kid in, especially now when kids don't play outside. They're just on the phone or computer, getting raised by the computer. When you could throw them into martial arts, at least they have some kind of masculinity or something that they're learning, right?
Well, and the thing of it is, and I know you sponsor a few of the guys that I train with over there at Gracie United, and the guys I seen it on Facebook, and I see them progressing. I see you kind of sponsoring them, and I love it, man. And the thing about martial arts is it trains you to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and like you said, it trains you to have that discipline. And I wish I would have started doing it when I was young because I didn't start doing it till I was 40 years old. And I can't train as hard as
Oh
these
wow.
18-year-old kids, man. They are tough, and like they are going to be fighters, and like I'm just trying to stay not hurt and healthy, and I just want to get better. Realistically, I'm not going to go fight in the UFC. I'm probably not going to get in an octagon because I'm just trying to stay healthy. But I would encourage anybody to go try some type of martial arts or combat sport, and it's just something great for people, man. And that's awesome that you're out there encouraging people to do that.
Yeah. And I love how you said, being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, because where I thrive in life is the chaos, the uncomfortability, and I think a lot of that was to do with that. But your whole life shouldn't be chaos, though. You
No,
kind of get used to that chaos, but it's almost a drug. But you got to learn to balance the everyday life with the chaos. But I'm really good at the
yeah,
chaos, and hopefully in my older age, I have a whole lot less of it.
yeah,
So
well, and the funny thing is, like the first time that I went to jiu-jitsu, I'm 40 years old, and they got the 16-year-old kid. And I go in there, and he just nonchalantly just kind of looks at me, and he's sitting there, and he grabs my sleeve, and next thing you know, he puts me in a triangle, and he chokes me, and I tap. I'm like, all right, you're not going to do that again. And he proceeded to do it 4 more times in a row, and I'm just like, all right,
oh wow.
all right, there's something to this. And I got choked so many times the first time I went, I was like, all right, I'm coming back. And there is a really great feeling about walking out of a studio when you're done with training and you just survive death. It's like you walk in, you could be going through a divorce, just lost your job, going bankruptcy, just lost your car and all that stuff. And when you're in there training and struggling for your life and just trying to hold everybody off, keeping the lions at bay, it's like none of that stuff matters. And you walk out and it's like, man, absolute peace. It's like a glassy lake, and it's amazing for that feeling. But yeah, and just
Doing something difficult is always
yeah, and I mean that's life. Life is difficult. Everybody, is like, I want my life to be easy. I'm like, I don't think life is meant to be easy or it's ever going to be easy.
well. I think we got so convenient with life, with everything there. You don't even have to drive to the store anymore. You get it delivered. You get your food delivered. You don't have to make mixtapes no more. Use it, look for a calculator. You don't have to you don't have to go to Blockbuster. Part of the date was going to Blockbuster, right?
Yeah,
But now it's just everything is instant, and the generation coming up just thinks everything's now in hand, and nobody works for anything, and they don't have to because it's just there,
instantaneous gratification.
and a lot of them's gonna get a rude awakening,
I
huh?
said instantaneous gratification is the downfall of society.
Yeah, that's what this whole yes.
Yeah. I
100%.
like whenever I come out and I was a supervisor over some crews sometimes, site supervisor sometimes, and I would really love it when they sent farm boys out to work with me, or guys that come from like a farming environment, because these dudes woke up at the butt crack of dawn, and they were freaking grinders, and no matter what you throw at them, they will pick it up and they will carry it as far as you can. That old saying, a farmer's walk. You take two weights and you carry them as far as you can. I
Yeah.
mean, these dudes are hustlers, man. And I was like, hey, send me them damn hands over here, man. And they would get it, bro. You know what I mean? What would you say to the 18-year-old version of yourself? And do you think he would listen to
I got a couple of things. This is a great question. I kind of deal with this a lot. Be very careful who you love, who you commit to a relationship with without thinking. Don't think with the wrong head, per
you? That's
se.
right.
That got me in a whole bunch of trouble in life.
Yeah.
Um,
Adolescence.
100%. Think clearly. Don't think with that motive in mind. There's a whole lot deeper things to a relationship that are more beautiful that you can experience when you're thinking clearly.
Sure.
Don't sell Bitcoin. And that goes back to another story. I was one of the first and early investors in Bitcoin. I got it at $20 a coin, and it moved up. Yeah,
Man,
so you know where it's at
I
now.
didn't know I was talking to a
And
millionaire,
I
bro.
had a Should be. Yeah, I did the math the other day. It was something like 20 or 30 million that I would have had. Well, here's a good life lesson. You know, listening to people at work saying that's fake money, that's stupid, blah blah blah, and I kind of got scared. So when it dropped to like below 20, it got back to 20. I kind of just sold it at 20 to kind of break
Sure.
even. And a year later, maybe I was on a special project working like a day job, and I was scrolling through my phone and I saw bitcoins at would have been 15,000 or 17,000, 20,000, whatever it
Hmm.
was. My heart just sank, and I was like, "Did I really sell the bitcoins?" I ran to the bathroom. I think I even, just dry heaving in the bathroom. Saw my account zero,
Yeah.
and I was like, "So I would definitely
Yep.
have millions, but that goes to show like don't listen to people. If you really feel like something's
Yeah.
right or you have something on your heart to do, um,
Don't let people talk you out of it.
don't let people talk you out of it. Like when I started my business, I got made fun of. Oh my God, he's going to school for mortgage. He think he's the mortgage broker, and yeah, it got to me, but not to the point where I would quit. I just used it as fuel to prove everybody wrong, and now I don't get that, of course, anymore. But I had to show I had to prove myself. I get it. It was pretty weird that dude working in the plant to go start a mortgage company. I get it, but it wasn't easy. But I got through all that. I proved myself. Enjoy what I do. It's not easy sometimes, but very rewarding.
Right.
So yeah, don't listen to people. You got something you want to do, do it.
Absolutely. Big risk, big reward, and don't let what the naysayers say. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's
And I've taken many risks that didn't turn out. I've had several risks that I've taken that I wish I wouldn't have, but every time I've taken a risk and got back down, it was that much easier to get back up. So you only gotta get back up. One time is gonna be the right time, and don't let nobody keep you down.
no. And I think
So you never know. You never know if it's this time. Get back up. If it's this time that you can make it, you never know. You get knocked back down, get up. It's hard to do, but a lot of people stay down, and I was down for a minute, but you gotta keep pushing.
right. And I mean, I think it was Bruce Lee. He said, "I don't pray for an easy path." He said, "I just pray for the feet to handle the rough path that I'm given."
Yes.
What's your greatest sense of accomplishment?
Greatest sense of accomplishment. Probably the hardest thing I ever did. I have a second degree black belt. That was very difficult. I have two college degrees. That was difficult. But to be honest with you, starting a business was probably more difficult than any of that. Just working a full time job while you're starting a business. And I'm very blessed to have a partner in my business that I found that kind of handles the day to day operations now. But at first, man, it was rough. And I got through it. But for a entire year of my life, I really don't remember, and I don't think I was the best father or spouse or friend during that time because I was in survival
Right.
mode. And a lot of times I would look back and say, I would kind of regret doing it, but now that it's kind of working out, it's worth it. But just everyone around me had to pay the price, not just me too. So when you start a business, what I suggest is make sure your loved ones are on board. You're gonna need the support. You can't do it alone, and they're gonna have to realize the sacrifice that you're gonna have to give, and it's gonna take a little bit away from them too. So that's just something you gotta realize.
I hear a lot of stories about people just working 16, 20-hour days whenever they're working on their calling and burning the candle at both ends. And, they say when you burn a candle at both ends, it doesn't last very long, but what a bright light it makes while it's burning. And like you said, you probably don't even,
Yes, and when it does,
you said you don't even remember those
yeah, when it
days.
does burn out though, no, when it burns out, it burns out bad.
Yeah.
But you could get back up and light them
Well,
again.
sounds like you're doing good, man. I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome. Uh,
Thank
yeah,
you.
man. What's one thing that if you could go back, you would do it differently?
Well, that kind of touches on, we could always go to the Bitcoin or different relationships and things like that, but all those learning experiences, I think made me who I am. So changing some things, maybe sometimes I come across aggressive or angry and I maybe hurt some people over the years. I wish I could take that back and not really hurt, especially the people closest to me. Um, Trying to do a lot better with how I treat people, talk to people. Especially, you always hurt the ones closest, right? Because they're the ones there in the trenches with you that you take your day out on,
Right.
right? And just kind of wish I'd have held it together more with the kids, more with the fiance. So, and that's things that once again I said, wake up every day, try to do better. So that's something I wish I could fix and do better, which I am. So, and just not being so emotional in my earlier years and just doing what I feel and just kind of making some bad choices would have made it a lot easier. Don't get into debt. So like, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. Don't get delusional. Like, oh, I'm gonna make it next month. I'm gonna have a big check next month, and always chasing that next month. Live within your means, and that way you won't have to be burdened by debt. Debt is the detriment to, you ask what's wrong with the world besides drugs. Debt is a very bad thing, killing a lot of people. The promise of cheap money and materialistic things that we chase really at the end of the day doesn't make you happy. So that's something I wish I'd have learned earlier too.
Yeah, I remember back at Southeastern whenever I used to be sitting there checking my school email, and I'm sure they still do this, and they've been doing this for a long time. You started getting those credit card applications and them trying to,
They want working on campus.
oh, we will
Yeah.
pre-finance you or pre-approve for this credit card. And it took me a long time before I started using credit, and I kind of got myself in a spot for a little while, and then I realized I started kind of hitting that Dave Ramsey on them, getting all that stuff out the way, and I really stay away from that financing stuff unless I absolutely have to, because, like you said, that burden of having that debt and buying stuff that you can't afford on next month's salary or commission check or
Maybe.
yeah, that maybe money I might get, that I think I'm gonna get if everything goes right
Right.
next month. Yeah,
Correct.
I love it.
Yeah, they would set up the little boots for us. We put like drunk goggles on and throw the football through the little hoop, and they would like give out the credit cards on campus in the union. So yeah, they start you out early.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they always try to get you hooked in, man. They give you that little thing. It's kind of like the casinos. They hit you with the lights a couple of times and just keep you coming back.
Mhm. Right.
Cool. Is there any questions you got for me, brother?
No, man. Anything else you want to know? Anything you want me to elaborate a little bit more on?
Mm, I think that's about it. Who do you think that would be a good guest from a upcoming podcast for me to talk to local in the area?
Local area, you know who it is. I'm gonna shout out my boy, Mr. Gage Gill. He's an up and comer MMA fighter. I've been sponsoring him since day one. He's got a fight coming up in Canada that I think would be good to talk about
Hmm.
locally since he's going international with it.
Yeah, I know Gage.
Um,
She's good people.
Try to get him on the show. Yeah,
Yep.
local boy going international. You got to talk about that. His struggle, what he's went through. I know he's working a full time job in training. I know it's difficult for him. Um, but he's young. He's
Oh
get
yeah.
that.
Them young bucks, they can handle a heavy load.
Right.
Right on, man. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Shout out to Shaun. Time for your shameless plug. Tell us about where people can find you, where they can help you out, sponsor you, come alongside of you, and help get Brignac Mortgage and any other spots or anything that you could think of off the ground.
All my social media, you can follow me at Shaun Brignac from YouTube, Twitter, all social medias. I'm pretty active on Facebook, Instagram, www.brignacmortgage.com. is where my website is. There's a huge apply now button. So if you have a friend or relative that are in the market for a mortgage, refinance, debt consolidation, anything like that, tell them to go to brignacmortgage.com, hit apply now. That goes directly to my application page, and we'll get get in touch with you very soon. So yeah, brignacmortgage.com or at Shaun Brignac, everywhere on social.
Go check Shaun out.
And if you know anybody interested in a career in mortgage with a little bit of experience, we're very aggressive, trying to get some people, build a team a little bit, expand to different states. So somebody wants to take this journey with us. We're on the ground level, been open for 2 years, very family oriented. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. So if you're looking for help trying to get a house, or you're looking for some type of business mortgage, go see my boy Shaun. Or if you're looking for some type of career change or some extra income, go see my boy Shaun. He's trying to help you out. We're trying to help him out. So if you enjoyed this, tell a friend, like and subscribe. We're just trying to get better. Thanks until next time. Thanks, Shaun. I appreciate you, brother.